Senator Rogers, do you have anything to say?
No.
Senator Pugh,
No.
Senator Vardo,
Yes.
I would watch before that. Up there.
I call this the 21st meeting of the 12th Undergraduate Senate to order. I'm going to begin by calling the roll. Senator Pintar,
Here, by proxy.
Senator Lickstein,
Here.
Senator Gale, Senator Rogers,
Here.
Senator Zitzman, Senator Bardo,
Here too.
Senator Pugh,
Here.
Senator Kenna, Senator Conover, Senator Grant, Senator Adeli.
Here.
Senator Smith, Senator Morrow, Senator Spivak.
Here.
Senator Zanke.
Here.
Okay, so we have 1,
Yes.
Where the
4, 5.
When-
we have a camera?
Yep.
The camera's.
Okay, so we have 8, and that is
Is that thing? Wait,
It's that one.
we're high rolling.
Okay.
No way.
So, we're gonna move on to the adoption of the agenda. This is the agenda, so any discussion on it? Okay, the agenda is gonna be adopted without objection. We're gonna move on to the adoption of the minutes from the 20th meeting. These are the minutes from the 20th meeting. Is there any discussion on these minutes?
Whoa, I can't read that fast.
They were emailed out.
Catch up.
Really?
They were emailed out. Okay, no discussion on minutes from the 20th meeting. They're gonna be adopted without objection. Now we're gonna move on to public comment. Does any member of the public wish to speak at this time? Cool. We're gonna move on to reports from officers. Secretary Schneider, please do what you want. You don't have slides, do you?
No slides?
There's not even wearing slides like I should.
Tragic.
No.
Hello, everyone, the esteemed Senate. I have like 2 things to talk about. First of all, we are bringing on a great comms director. You have probably met him. We are going to work on outreach events for senators that week. So what I mentioned during the committee meeting 2 weeks ago, making office hours more active rather than passive. We're going to get to work on that, and he has a lot of great ideas, and I'm glad to support him. And also, we are back in Kogod. I was able to secure this room for the rest of the semester every Sunday, and along with that is the better live streaming capabilities. Again, that I ordered last year. So we have 2 cameras that are built into the room. There are numerous microphones throughout the room, so they will catch you if you're recording.
Good.
I think somebody got caught last year. And so be aware of that.
What part?
I'm working on reviving KP's Instagram because they have a great photographer this year, and they want to make use of those great photos. So hopefully we can get that up and running soon. Senate has a Snapchat.
Yep.
So
Nice.
What?
that
That reminds me, I should probably
We need a case.
Yeah.
follow the Snapchat.
What is it?
AU Senate.
AU Senate.
Yep. Tell your friends.
It's in there. It's in there.
It's as lit as Senate is.
Is that a word?
It's a.
It depends every week.
Right. Tomorrow, our student trustee will be publishing an op-ed in the Eagle about recent events and the introduction to the student trustee position and how she intends to manage that and manage student voices in front of the board of trustees. So I would recommend taking a look at that. And if you are so inclined, sharing it on your Facebook and Twitter. The student trustee plays a vital role in campus leadership, and it is important that students know that is available to them. The student trustee is the voice in front of the highest governments of the university. On Friday, Will, after a lot of diligent work, he will talk about this further, launched a partnership with DAP for Puerto Rico hurricane relief. I will allow him to go into way further detail. So that will be continuing for the rest of October, and we got to support Case in that endeavor. I think that is all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
Any questions for Secretary Schneider?
Do you have any fall break plans?
Do you have any fall break plans? No. I am planning on, I'm participating in an AU leadership retreat,
Oh,
which is all day on Friday. So I will hopefully be able to report back a lot of cool things about that. President Burwell, Governor Bass will be there, among other university leaders. So I'll hopefully be able to report back on that.
sweet. Any other questions for Secretary Schneider? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to Case Director Mascaro. Now get your slides.
Good morning, afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone has had a good weekend so far. I just wanted to provide a brief report about some of the stuff that we did over the week that's relevant time-wise, and then take any questions you might have. So the first thing, and Secretary Schneider already mentioned it, is I wanted to report back some of the information that we have from the first day of the drink that we launched. So for those of you that are not aware, as Chris mentioned, we partnered with the DAB to provide, next slide if it's possible. Thank you so much. To provide a drink, the proceeds of which would go to the Puerto Rican relief effort. And so that drink was launched on Friday. It's called the Resilient Tea, and you can get iced or hot. It's very good. I'm a big fan. They've given us back some initial information, and they don't know the numbers yet, but they said that they think that they've broken their first day record for drink of the month sales, which is very exciting. So thank you. There's a lot of senators in here. Senator Pugh, Lickstein, Bartow, a number of you shared it around Facebook, so I really appreciate that. I appreciate that the Senate retweeted it, so thank you, probably comms director. I appreciate that a lot, and Speaker. So it's been very good, and like Chris said, it's going to be for the whole month. So we're going to keep doing a couple of different promotional things. If you have any ideas, let us know. I'd be happy to integrate those. We're trying to get as many drinks sold as possible. The second thing I wanted to report was a conversation I had, or a meeting, I guess, with the university librarian. She asked me to relay a message to all of you that the library is looking to work with students, but members of student government in particular, about how we can partner with them on initiatives that would help students feel more included and comfortable on campus. They're very open to doing a number of different things. They don't really know specifically what they want to do yet, so they're looking to groups like student government to provide them with some ideas. So even things like just utilizing that space to provide information about university policies or about how to respect one another when you're in a community of diverse individuals and perspectives. They'd be comfortable utilizing the library, and the fact that almost every single student is in there at least once every 1 or 2 weeks as a place to provide or disseminate that information. So if you have any ideas, let me know. You can let the library know directly. I just thought that was a good opportunity to bring to all of you. And then finally, I wanted to give you all an update on the progress of our report in response to the hate crime that took place a couple of weeks ago. The draft is finished, and we're about to start sending it out. As we did last year, the Senate's going to receive a copy of it ahead of time. So look out for your emails Wednesday or Thursday. You'll get the draft of the release. There are 4 recommendations that we're making. The report is very well researched, and I think it will complement existing efforts that have been put out by student government already, because it provides some context and some evidentiary background for the positions that we're making. And we'll make sure to work with Chris and other members of student media as well, so that when it is released, we make sure that it is disseminated to the AU student body. Okay. And then happy fall, everyone. I feel like it's my favorite season. It's almost Halloween. Fall breaks this weekend. But yeah, that's all I have. If there's any questions, you can ask me. If not, I'm all good.
Secretary Schneider.
Yes.
Have you set your Halloween costume yet?
That is hilarious, because the answer is yes. And I just decided I'm going to be, this is so funny. Now, I don't know if you know who this is, but the show, what's it called? Powerpuff Girls. There's multiple, and I'm not going to be a Powerpuff Girl, that's not my deal, but there's multiple like bad guys in the show, and I'm not going to be the little monkey with the brain that runs around. So I wanted to be him the red guy with the changing voice.
Yep.
So long story short, that's my answer.
Can we pull up a photo of this?
Yeah, please. I almost put it. I literally almost put it in this.
Wait, so
Red
what
guy,
is this character?
red guy with changing
Red guy with
voice.
changing
No,
voice.
say him. No, just say him from Powerpuff Girls. This is what people really want to know. They think we're live streaming, Chris.
Yeah.
This is
Oh.
It's gonna be so much fun. I don't think I'm gonna wear the claws because, like, how can I
Wait, he's gonna.
go trick or treating? How can I pick up candy? Claws, let me put it that way. I can't.
You could just attach a bag to the claws now, couldn't
I could, or they could be like, I could like grab it and then slip it down my t-shirt and like
Yeah.
just hold it in there.
It's like an easy concept.
Yeah, it's not gonna be bad. So I bought a long sleeve. What'd you say? Yeah, if you guys are interested, 411 tips. Bought a long sleeve red shirt. And then I
Realize there's not much you need to change.
I bought, oh, that's what you said. Yeah. We're
I
basically
bet-
twins. We're basically twins.
Oh my god, is that you?
Yeah, I bought two too.
Oh my god.
I promise that will not be me. I promise that's not
You
gonna
can
be
pick
what
your
it looks like. Which is, I'm not gonna do anything to my face. So I'm not
You don't
that
need to.
dedicated. I don't need to.
Awesome.
According to Senator.
Love it. Okay, next
Alright.
question. Okay, thank you so much for your report.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Okay, cool. Moving on to new business and the confirmation of Josh Gutmaker to be the chair of the Joint Committee on Elections Policy. He was favorably recommended for confirmation by CRP. Feel free to come down and speak. You're gonna have 4 minutes, and there's gonna be 4 minutes of questioning, and there's gonna be
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joshua David Gutmaker. I am a third-year student in the School of Public Affairs, and I've been nominated to chair the Joint Committee on Elections Policy. In terms of my history in student government, I served as Sasha Gilthorpe's Director of Student Rights, Devontae Toriente's Chief of Staff, and the Transition Director between the current and Toriente administration. In terms of campaigns, I helped Devontae get elected, I helped Taylor get elected, I helped a bunch of senators get elected and a bunch of other executive positions. So I'm very familiar with the elections policy, not the current book. So I can't tell you any changes that I would like to make to it right now. Frankly, I don't even know if there are any specific changes or dramatic ones that I am interested in doing. I just saw that this position was open and that elections are coming up, hopefully, if the data set. And you need to share the data set for those elections. So that is why I'm here. If I was a senator, I would be concerned with two things. One, availability. I intern 2 days a week. I have a position on the executive board of AU Dems, and I'm a TA, and then I am in like 4 classes in a lab or whatever. I refuse to answer anything student government related from 9 to 6, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. That's why I'm interning, and I'm not going to do that while I'm over there. But other than that, I'm totally free. And the other concern that I have would be if I am if I could be impartial for anything, because everything I listed are like non-impartial positions. And I think that's like a two-pronged answer. One, the position that I'm in has a copious amount of checks on it in terms of both people in JSEP as well as the Senate's oversight over JSEP. And then number two, I don't have any stake in any of these games. So that's the other thing about it. If you have any questions, I'm happily ready to take those.
Any questions for the nominee? Senator Lickstein.
Yes, so if there becomes a point where you do have stake in the game, since you are constantly involved in elections, then would that change your impartiality in?
No. I don't think it would. I also think, again, you have oversight over me, so all the decisions that are made by JSEP end up going to Senate, I'm pretty sure, as well as I hope there's 4 members in JSEP currently. No. Well, they also vote, so I can't do anything without the majority of their support. Yeah.
Okay, and then my next one is, have you ever participated in breaking election policy?
Not that I'm aware of.
Who are you right now?
I'm Pintar, so I shouldn't even hold this.
Okay, Senator Pintar.
Thank you. I know, right? When there are inevitably issues with your level of impartiality, how do you recommend that the Senate hold you accountable? Because you mentioned mechanisms, but what do you recommend that this body does to make sure that those issues aren't present in the election?
Definitely. So I will happily come over and explain in full detail my involvement with any campaign that I will not be involved in. To the entire undergraduate senate, I will, make it very clear whatever ties I have to whoever, and then you can vote on whether or not to agree or disagree with what I did or what I will not do. Does that make sense? So like everything, I literally cannot do anything bad without you all approving it.
Any other questions for the nominee?
I just have one more. With this Tuesdays, Wednesdays conflict, what happens when people need to contact you for the purposes of the election on a Tuesday or Wednesday? Just a no?
So in all of the times that I have seen voting here, it's been Wednesday through Friday, which is when the majority of the problems take place, according to JSEP. That is one day when you can contact me. That's totally fine. And I'm also just letting you know right now that I'm not going to be sitting in my office reading the elections policy book. That's what I mean in terms of doing work for this. I don't mean in terms of if some candidate shot another candidate and they want the race decertified, I'll be contactable about that.
Okay. Will you read the policy book though?
Perfectly.
Okay.
Any other questions for the nominee? Okay, if you please leave the room, we're gonna have debate. Okay, any debate or any discussion on the nominee? Senator Barta.
I think it's important to realize that we only ever like online and student government online only ever started looking up for open positions for this position 4 days ago on October 4th. And I think we always talk about how we try to get people who are not involved in student government more involved, more like outsiders, to allow more students have a role, not just the same SG person doing the same SG position. So I think it's important to realize that whether senators are considering confirming or not confirming, that this wasn't really open out a lot for all students. And even, students don't have, this is like a midterm week, students did not have time or didn't even see it. It's only been out for 4 days, that post. So I think that's just important to realize if we really do want to open this up to the entire student body or just pick our friends.
Senator Deli.
Just a point of inquiry, how long is the term the person would hold this?
Members of JSEP serve indefinitely until they leave the university. Senator Lucy.
Okay, so looking at the bylaws, it says that the joint committee may create official policy interpretations, which shall be created only once a formal request has been made by a member of the community. So that I have no doubt in my mind that Josh is more than capable and dedicated to making changes and passionate about this position. However, I do not believe that he is capable of remaining unbiased. I think that that's been seen in his involvement in student government in the past. I think that I'm proud to see a lot of SG move away from a corrupt and politically motivated environment. I see an amazing new exec board and great initiatives happening. And I think that I'm scared that confirming this will move us back into that type of territory. And so that's why I will not be voting in favor of this. Encourage people to look at the past and past involvement. And even if there's claim that unbiased relationships will happen, that other positions require you to be unbiased too, and that hasn't happened in the past with the same individual.
Senator Rogers.
I would just say that I don't think it's fair to throw around accusations of corruption right now when the individual we're discussing hasn't, been convicted of anything or charged officially with anything that ever, meant anything, I guess. And I would also say that, like what has been said, he's very qualified. We need a JSEP chair with elections coming up, and to the point that maybe it wasn't as open as possible, and we're always trying to get people outside of student government into student government. That's true, but with a position like this, we need someone who on the system operates, who understands the rules and who can, oversee that process. And I would also say that in terms of trying to get new people in with the new executive board and how they're great, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that this position is nominated by the president and the speaker. Is it a joint?
It's a joint nomination.
It's a joint nomination. So if the executive board is great and we should look to them as an example, should we not also look to their nominee as a good nominee?
Secretary Steiner.
So it's no secret that Josh and I have had our differences over the course of the last year and a half when we've worked together in student government. But I don't think for a minute that I would question his integrity when it comes to making decisions that are published and can very literally impact the outcome of an election or the flow of a fair election. So I think we all have, I think I'm going to quote Senator Lickstein saying that we all have personal biases. And I wouldn't expect anybody who's been in student government to not have a personal bias. But I also think that he wouldn't do anything that would put his own integrity in jeopardy, or put the integrity of the election in jeopardy, or put the integrity of student government in jeopardy. And in terms of availability, I would say that Josh has always made himself available regardless of prior commitments or regular commitments. He says he's not going to be available on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but as soon as he walks out of his Senate office building at 6 p.m., I expect him to check his email, and I know he will from past experience. So again, reiterating that I have not always had a great relationship with Josh in terms of decisions in student government, but I can't recommend him enough personally, and I know he has the full backing of the executive board when we talked about this before Taylor made her appointment.
Senator Pugh, did you still have something?
Yeah, sorry. I think Josh is very good at what he does in terms of being involved in his past experiences with campaigns and stuff. I just feel that a JSEP chair should be maybe not necessarily an outsider from student government, but someone who has had less of a impact on specific campaigns, someone who can be more impartial, someone who hasn't been as involved, and just like, I know Josh is very good at answering emails and things like that, but just given the time and what he's divided with, I just feel like someone, if this position was open for a longer time or more publicized, that there would have been other applicants for this position that are well suited for it.
Senator Barnett.
Yeah, so I get that this position is important, elections are coming up, but that doesn't mean that we just throw someone in there. And if we are really going to stick to our true values about making sure that we are an inclusive community, inclusive body, about bringing people, of course, like not just like putting a random person, like someone that is qualified, someone that knows, but that doesn't mean, like, again, that we just put our friends in there. I also want to point out that, yes, it's important that we see e-board as an example. However, we also have an important role in making sure that, these positions and these policies are being followed through and being held accountable, and that we have our own eyes and ears. We can all read and we all can make our own decisions too.
Senator, who are you?
Pintar.
Senator Pintar.
No, I think Senator Pugh makes a very strong point. The nominee certainly has a lot of experience with campaigns, running campaigns. I don't think he has any experience running an actual election. And I think those are two very different things. I think my general concern is that if I was trying to seek the support of the Senate for this position, I wouldn't be bragging about the fact that I haven't read the new policy book. I wouldn't be eagerly letting people know that I have no idea what's going on. And I think we need someone who's available. I think we need someone with a record of being impartial. And I think we need someone with that love and interest for this position. The reason why we're in this position right now is because we always choose someone who doesn't actually want the position or is so overwhelmed and stressed that they leave. So by the spring election, I highly doubt this nominee will still be here and will be in this position all over again, where we're rushing to find someone semi-qualified. So Chris is right. We all have our own personal biases. I think we should all be very transparent with that. But based on what I heard today, objectively, I'm very unimpressed.
Senator Daly.
2 point of inquiries. One, when is the start of the new election cycle?
Okay.
Diane, do you want to speak on that or no?
Or I have to, or do you want
That's not confirmed yet, what Jacob sent you.
to, yesterday?
What did he send you yesterday?
He said it was confirmed yesterday.
He emailed me on Thursday and I just read the email now, so impossible for it to be confirmed yet. So this is what I think it's going to be. So it should be what he sent you, but Ayana needs to have the final approval, so I just forwarded that to her. So if everything goes according to plan and this all moves efficiently, that the first information session would be this coming Wednesday. And then the second one will be next Saturday, with the final one on Monday, October 16th, campaigning from the 16th to the 22nd, and then voting would begin on the 30th. So it's pushed back almost 3 weeks compared to what it normally is for Senate.
And if the chair, I'm assuming, is supposed to be present at the information sessions, correct?
Yes, from my understanding.
I guess my second point of inquiry, which I don't know if this is the right question to ask at this point, since the information session is literally this week. Is there a way to delay this confirmation to see if there are any other applicants, or is this a decision made by the speaker and the president that they think is set in stone?
Well, so the way we get a sheriff days happens, they're jointly nominated by the speaker and the president, and it's up for Senate confirmation, so you guys either like say yes, and then they're in the position, or they say no, and then they're not.
But there isn't a way just to be like, push this to next week. It would have
Like
to,
to table it?
yeah.
You guys could table it theoretically.
I just had a question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I guess I have a question about procedure. So we're going to be voting on whether to recommend him to full Senate, correct?
This is full Senate,
Gotcha.
so
My second question is the voting options are yes, no, abstain, and no vote? Or what are the
The
voting?
first
no votes, it's just, yes, no, or abstain. Pentar.
I just have a question for you, if you don't mind. I trust your judgment, and so I'm curious about what you think about the appointment. Like, I'm just actually genuinely curious.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Taylor and I talked about this a lot. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that our decision wasn't influenced by the fact that there was only one applicant. And also that the elections are very quickly upon us, and this position is incredibly important. I am someone of the mind that this position should be somebody who's never served in student government before, because it's incredibly important that they know the governing documents and the general mechanisms that student government operates under. Yeah, did that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Okay. Secretary Schneider.
I would personally, if we apparently have all these issues that weren't raised during the questioning period, I would encourage Senate to bring him back in here and ask all these questions directly, because I think that you kind of you can't say all of this after he leaves the room without giving him a chance to respond, because you asked questions, he responded, and now you're bringing up all these other points that he's now not responding to. But you're making accusations that you're not substantiating. You are saying he's not going to be impartial. You're saying he's shown a history of being impartial, but you're not substantiating that. So I would give him an opportunity to have. I see you talking. I would give him a chance.
It's not personal at all. I'm not trying to be rude to you. It's my opinion.
And I hope you understand my point of view.
I do.
I just think fair is fair. I think he should have a chance to respond before he gets voted on.
Can you address the secretary's comments? I think.
You've spoken twice, so you can't speak again. Senator Lipstein.
Okay, so let's bring Josh back into the room.
Is that a motion to
I
reopen
motion.
questioning?
I motion, what do I,
To reopen a period of questioning?
reopen a period of questioning.
Second.
Is there, okay. The motion on the floor is to reopen a period of questioning for the nominee. There's been a second. Is there any discussion on this motion? Okay, seeing none, we're gonna vote. All those in favor of bringing Josh back in for questioning, say yay.
Yeah.
Those opposed, nay. Okay. More questions?
What does that mean?
Okay.
That's my question.
Okay. More questioning. Senator Lipstein.
Okay, so a lot of the discussion was about, the impartiality or the involvement of you being selected as the nominee. So my question for you is, did you or did you not discuss before the application was even open to the public that you would probably get this position because of your relationship with the current president?
So Taylor asked me to apply for it. I don't know about the posting of the process. That's not even within her authority to do that. She asked me to apply.
Senator Pinter?
I'm just curious about why you want the position.
Yeah, so Taylor is really all about service. That's why she started running. That's why she's here. And she asked for some help because she was having trouble finding somebody. I understand that the application process, posting online was, difficult or whatever. So she knew that she could trust me to do this position because I am incredibly familiar with the elections policy book. I'm not like at this time, but at one point in my life, I could recite sections to you. I forgot the question. Can you repeat the question?
Why do you want the position?
Oh, right, thank you. Yeah, so she asked me to help serve pretty much, and that's what I'm gonna do. With me, you would get a clean policy book that you would have to approve, and I want to do it because no one's been able to really just like get one through in a very clean way. It's always messy, and post-election, it's always just nasty. We've all been through all of that, and I would like this position because I want to ensure that there's a very smooth process for refining the book. There's a very clear process for approving the elections, which all of us have been through and are not fun. And I want this position because I think that's a level of stability that student government doesn't have and should have, at least for these elections.
Senator Lixon.
May I ask two questions?
Go for it.
Okay, so my first question is, if this is a position you want so badly and you do have time to allot to it, why haven't you read the new election policy book yet?
It's printed out sitting next to my computer right there. I doubted the Senate's willingness to approve me. So I just wasn't gonna read that until you approved me.
Then my second question
Mhm.
is like personal. Why should, and I hope that you grant me the respect during this of not ignoring like history. Why should I trust you to be my elections policy chair?
Sure. So I have campaigned against many of you in this room. I have run campaigns against many of you, and that creates all sort of, whatever between us. This position, again, this is two-pronged. This position, I can't do anything impartial. I genuinely don't think I can. The only place that I can would be a ruling in terms of like interpreting the policy book, which again, subject to Senate approval as well as the other committee members. In this position, I do not have the ability to be partial. And then the second prong is I am so not involved with the politics of student government and the politics of the people here that it's a waste of my time to pursue any of you or to pursue any of the people that you consider your allies. I don't care. I'm not failing the class, but I'm getting pretty close. So that's what I'm focused on. I am enjoying my time outside of student government. And this position is one that, because you cannot be partial, I wouldn't get involved with the politics stuff. And I'm looking forward to being in a position where I don't have to do that.
Is that the time limit?
You're fine.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that's it.
Any other questions for the nominee?
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I'm just curious, will you stay on for the whole year?
Probably. I don't know what my schedule's gonna look like. I'm trying to graduate in 3 years, so I have to take on a lot of shit next semester. Next semester. So I'm not sure, but I'm gonna try to because it's gonna require, like, not an overhaul thing, but making a clean book is gonna require some effort and time.
And it would be valuable to have an experienced spring chair.
Right. And these walls aren't very thin, so if I was to resign or to whatever, I would make sure that there was someone who understood it just as well as I did. It doesn't happen like it does every year in expert. As transition director, I have a lot of experience helping people transition.
Senator Pugh.
Do you believe in, if you had to make a ruling as chair, in strict reading of the book or more loosely interpreted?
I can't speculate because it depends on the officer that's doing it. I usually would stick to pretty strict because that book lays out very clear restrictions on what's up. Does that answer your question? Yeah, probably more strict than we get.
Any other questions for the nominee?
Am I allowed?
Secretary Steiner?
Am I allowed? If a situation were to arise in which you had a clear or perceived conflict of interest,
Happily, is the answer to your question.
would you recuse yourself?
Happily.
Senator Bardo.
I was just questioning the application process. I mean, it was only open for 4 days during basically midterm week for a lot of students. Don't you think there should be at least, I mean, I don't even like a day or even a couple more days to encourage students to apply or other qualified individuals?
Totally. I wish that process was up to me.
You've spoken twice.
Procedural.
There's questions.
You.
I move to suspend the rules to allow unlimited questioning per senator.
Second.
Okay, this is a vote that requires 2/3 threshold. Is there any discussion on the motion to take away the rules? No, okay. We're gonna vote. All those in favor of, what's the word?
Suspending.
Suspending the rules, say yay.
Yeah.
Those opposed, nay.
Nay.
Okay. So the motion passes, rules are suspended. There's like unlimited time to speak and unlimited amounts of speaking. Senator Lucy.
Can I ask a procedural question?
Yeah.
Okay, so if this confirmation was to go through, and we're interested in an impartial situation, is there a way to like then, I don't know how to explain this. Okay, I'm gonna be really like improper, but like let's say we say, okay, I believe everything he's saying, we vote for him, and then something happens that like draws it to question, can Senate then like fire Josh?
There's an impeachment process in
Process.
place. That's in the bylaws. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Senator Spivak.
I'm curious if you agree with this quote from former Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions. You pay a price when you have an objective sentencing system. That is, nothing is perfect.
Totally. I do agree with that.
I love that question.
Any other questions for the nominee? Senator Rogers.
Sure. So in a case where there would be perceived bias of some kind and individuals in the Senate were upset or questioning of any actions you took, would you be willing to speak with me and in my capacity as chair of the Committee on Responsible Advocacy to sort of help parse out what happened and then determine how to move forward from there?
I would be more than willing to do that. I think that the
Recusing?
I think the recusal process for this could be as simple as a senator saying, I know you're friends with XYZ, and I'll say, okay, I'll recuse myself. And it's that simple, because I think that once the committee, if I am confirmed and once the committee meets a few times, I will let them know of the situation of my history, and they will know what to do in case any senator has any problem with me. And I'll be happy to recuse myself. And to explain why to a full Senate or just.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the nominee? Okay, so I'd entertain a motion either to go back into debate or to vote.
I move to return to debate.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the motion to return to debate? Okay, all those in favor of returning to debate, say yay.
Yeah.
Those opposed, nay.
Nay.
I'm gonna call division, so let's ask for hands. So in favor of returning to debate? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 against. 1, 2. Okay, so we're gonna return to debate. Okay. He's left the room. Any other discussion on the nominee?
Nothing specifically against the nominee, but I'm still concerned by the application process. And we've had this problem before about, rushing to make a confirmation or a nominee. And like with the application only being live for like 4 or 5 days, it's really concerning. I know that the time constraint, but like if we want to have, if we want to be open and like consider multiple options, like the same way that we're doing with the parliamentarian, I think that we need to have more options for the to just consider. And I would just urge that maybe as a suggestion that the Secretary Schneider send out like a mass student government email to everyone out like listing every position that we have open still, so that way everyone knows and you don't have to necessarily access Facebook for it, just so that we have more options for this position.
Okay, so first I want to thank Secretary Schneider for encouraging us to bring Josh back into the room. I think that was really beneficial. I trust the executives and Speaker Wheeler and her choices, so I'm reconsidering my vote, but hope that like in the future, if you are re-elected to Senate, that you hold this position accountable to actually remaining an unbiased and impartial body and making sure that the opportunities of leadership in student government is available to everyone and not just a group of peers and friends. So yeah.
Any other discussion, Secretary Schneider?
I think the application process is a valid discussion to be had. I don't know if it should impact a senator's vote today, but I do think that having run the application process for this and other positions that are currently open in student government, I think personally it would be beneficial to talk about this in the Committee for Responsible Advocacy about our application process and how it's run and how we can improve it for the future. Because this is a problem that we constantly run into in terms of a position becoming available, getting communicated to me, getting the position on the website, and also then how we communicate that position. So I think that that is definitely a conversation to be had so that we can improve. And I would 100% entertain that conversation happening, and whether through legislation, bylaws changes, et cetera, would definitely be open to reforming that and making an application process more set in stone, because right now it is left discretion, and that kind of leaves a lot of questions for me and for everybody involved.
Senator Pardo.
So I'm kind of done with having conversations. Like we know that this is a constant problem, and thank you, Senator Pugh, for bringing that up. It is a constant problem with an easy solution. Have it more than 4 days.
I just said that we should put it into a bill.
Sorry, what I was speaking. What?
I'm sorry, I just said that like it should go beyond a conversation and it should come.
Agreed. However, for this position, which needs to happen soon, I think it's very easy to say it can be opened. That's one easy solution to open it up, other than just 4 days. And that I'm just going back to that to finish what I was saying. I'm done.
Senator Minter.
Yeah, I mean, I think where I'm landing is that it's not fair to hold the election hostage for new students that are excited about the prospect of joining Senate. I don't want to delay anything for them. I'm excited to see new people get to join, and it's not fair to derail the election for these people. I really don't think it is that hard to expand our horizons and invite more people into this organization. It does not take a bill. It really doesn't. Taking the effort ahead of time, a month ahead of time, to reach out to people deliberately, not people you know, not your friend, but groups of communities that might want to be involved, is not difficult. And so we are in the position we're in, the election's happening. It's unfortunate that we have one person to choose from, but I really hope this is a wake-up call in the future and we'll work harder to get new people in.
Any other discussion? Secretary Stringer.
So again, just talking about like application and, you know, how specific positions are advertised and how we go about doing that process. I do think that I ran on this. I do think that that's 100% a problem in student government, that we do choose friends, et cetera, et cetera. But I do think another thing that we should be talking about is the nature of the position. For a lot of positions, almost all positions in student government, I think bringing in an outside, somebody who's not in student government or one of our friends is totally like what we should be doing. And I ran on this, I'm working on doing that for other positions. JSEC chair is an interesting position because I think if the E-board and Speaker Wheeler presented somebody who had no SG experience, I think we would be having the opposite conversation right now about the person not being qualified to lead an elections interpretation body. And I 100% think that conversation would happen. It happened last year when we were appointing a secretary. And the people in this room had that conversation. So I just yes, there's something to be said about the application process. It can be improved. This was not a good timeline, but also consider the position that we're appointing when we're having that conversation.
Senator Barta.
And for anyone who doesn't know, last year when those issues were brought up, Rosie Black was denied. And then they had it again, expanded it more. And Chris, you're sitting in that position because of that, because the application was opened up more, because it is important to make sure that the applications are opened up. So more students who are not in the circle of SG, which we all know about, open it up.
Senator Stevens.
But I was in student government.
Point of order. When you were in student government.
Okay, this is a different
guys.
conversation.
Point of order.
Guys.
That's why I brought it up.
Stop. Okay, Senator Stevens.
I'd like to motion to vote.
Okay, there's a motion to vote. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion on the motion to vote? Okay, so this is a 2/3 threshold. Closing debate is a 2/3 threshold. So all those in favor of closing debate and moving to vote on the confirmation, say yay.
Yay.
Those opposed, nay. Okay, we're gonna vote. So all those in favor, now we're voting on his confirmation. So if you say yes, he will be confirmed. Does that make sense, everyone? Okay, so all those in favor of confirming Josh Gutmaker to be the chair of JSEP, say yes. Yes. Sorry, I didn't read that. All those in favor of confirming Josh Gutmaker to be the chair of JSEP, say yay.
Yay.
Those opposed, nay.
Nay.
Division.
I'm gonna ask for hands. Yay, hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 hands down, or for nay, hands up. 1, 2. Okay, so in 4 to 2 to abstain, he's confirmed. Cool. Okay, we're gonna move on to you're gonna be sworn in now. Please raise your right hand. Okay, you're gonna repeat after me. I state your name, you solemnly swear.
I state your name. I, Josh Gutmaker, swear.
That I will diligently and faithfully
I will diligently and faithfully
execute the duties and responsibilities
execute the duties and responsibilities
of the office of
the chairman of the Joint Committee on Elections Policy.
that I will abide by the governing
That I
documents
will abide by the governing documents
of the student
of
government,
the student government.
and that I will work to my fullest ability
That I will work to my fullest ability
to promote the interest and welfare
to promote the interest and welfare
of the students of American
of the
University.
students of American University.
Okay. Next item of business is a bill sponsored by Senator Adeli. This is going to go through first reading. It's Bill 1617-025. Clerk will report the legislation by number and title.
Bill 1617-025, a bill to improve constituency engagement.
Okay, would the sponsor of the bill like to speak?
Sure. I'm not sure if you guys got this, but it would be great if this could be.
Oh, yeah, no, you're so right. I will email this out right now. That's totally my bad.
Are the data centers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you just please stay for 5, Senator?
I guess I'd like to take.
Thank you.
I just sent it out to everyone, hopefully y'all got it, the Word doc. Feel free to speak.
Okay, yeah, so, this bill was inspired by numerous conversations that have been had over, frankly, the whole first year that I've been in Senate, and it's about actually talking to our constituents. It's something that's incredibly simple and that should have been completed by now, but unfortunately, I think that after observing the lack of engagement we have with our constituency, I think there needed to be some sort of mandate in the bylaws that amended this. So what this bill is really recommending is that under the policy on absence and attendance section in the bylaws, that every senator elected during their election year are to attend 4 events or general body meetings put on by one of the each caucus or one of the student-run organizations on this campus. This is a really easy way to be engaged, but also it starts the conversation that many of us aren't having right now with the people that we represent, whether that's a diaspora group, whether that's a religious group. As you can see on the bill, there are separate caucuses that each of the clubs are separated by. So ideally what I saw this going forward as is that an opportunity for each one of us and the new set of senators who are to come in to engage with each one of these caucuses in a way that starts a conversation that can start from either the first retreat we have to the last day of your term. So I'd be more than willing to answer questions if anyone has any, but I think it's pretty straightforward.
Any questions for the sponsor of this resolution? Okay, seeing none, this is going to be referred to the Committee on Rules and Privileges, to the Events Bylaws. Sweet. Okay. Good first reading. Old business, there is none. Now we're going to open up the period of public comment. Any member of the public wishes to speak at this time?
Sorry, I'm leaving. I have work.
Okay. Good of order.
Bye-bye.
Any member of student government? Senator Lickstein?
I just want to commend Nikki for that bill. It's super awesome. I wish Josh congratulations and the best of luck in the future, and hope everyone has a good week and a good fall break.
Anybody else for the order? Secretary Schneider.
Thank you all for a good debate, hearty debate. I know it's difficult sometimes to, I know we're all friends at the end, like we're all friends outside of this room. And sometimes we get, I want to apologize for getting overly heated. I think it was, I just felt very strongly about this, and I know that we have multiple things on our plate in terms of student government and how we viewed the situation. So I just want to thank the senators for entertaining and listening and taking into account what I was saying, even if I wasn't saying it in the most polite or respectful way. I just thank you.
Anybody else for the order? Senator Parker.
I think it's important to have a debate. It's important to have debate, but it's even more important to be respectful during the debate. Referencing cutting people off, interrupting them, things like that. So I think it's just important for this body to realize, especially if you're going to rerun in the Senate, where more people, more cooks in the kitchen could get more heated. Always remain respectful and have a good fall.
Who are you?
Will.
Okay.
I gotta stop doing this. Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to say, if you have the financial means to do so, please go to the DAV and buy the drink. It's called the Resilient Tea. I'd appreciate it. Puerto Rican students at AU would appreciate it. If you have any suggestions on how we can message it better, let me know. Have a great Sunday, everyone.
Anybody else for the order? Okay, sweet. If there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Maggie.
Of course.
Are you going, Nikki, are you going back?